This is how society collapses. So there's some pretty interesting reports coming out right now, and they're not good.
2 to 3 days, you guys informing me the cupcake lover, yes, EDP is back on YouTube, and no, these are not re-uploads or a fake account. It is actually him. I mean, I got this DM, this one, and this one, just to name a few. And I know that I got pretty serious when my own cousin reached out to me and was like, yo, guess who's back?
So Mr. EDP is back. This is how society collapses. For those of you that don't know who EDP is, he is one bad man majama, and not in a good way. He's a pretty bad dude. He was basically there was a sting that was done a while ago and he got caught up in it. He's basically he's just another version of Ava Chris Tyson. It's interesting because when Chris Tyson left YouTube, EDP has now returned. Watch the end of the video to really understand the implications of the situation and how this is just another part of the social decay that will lead to society's collapse, and how this is going to continue to affect YouTube, content creators, and all of us. So, guys, EDP is back again. He's created a number of different accounts over the years. He's been on different platforms. He had his own website at one point that got shut down, or he just couldn't keep hosting it anymore. He started going on other platforms like Twitch, Kick. They kick him off. But yeah, this guy is like, you have to really give him credit for one thing: persistence. Let's go ahead and jump into the video.
Now, very briefly, in case you guys weren't around in 2015, 2016, EDP was a YouTuber with over 2 million subscribers, getting millions upon millions of views per month. He was making a lot of money just talking shit about anything. If he flooded a toilet at Chipotle, he would talk about it. If his favorite football team lost, he would rant about it. And he got caught talking to a few minors and then tried to meet with one, and that's when the infamous cupcake excuse came up. So here we are. This is his YouTube channel. I give this channel a month and a half before it gets taken down. I don't know what's going on in the universe right now, but all of these creeps are coming back. I'm sure in a month and a half, Chris Tyson's going to come back and react to silly, funny puppy moments. And I'm pretty sure by November, Minilad will be back to normal playing Minecraft. I have not seen any of these videos. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing. Thank you.
So this is my 9 millionth attempt at trying to create a YouTube channel. We'll see how long this bullshit lasts. Probably won't last fucking long at all, to be honest with you. And I've noticed that with YouTube, they don't have a problem with you creating a YouTube channel. That's fucking more than perfectly fucking fine. I mean, hey, the more movies you buy, the more accounts that you make, the more channels that you have, the fucking more money that they fucking get. But it's as soon as you start making fucking videos, then that's when they want to terminate and yank your fucking shit down. So
let's just be honest about it. YouTube didn't terminate your channel for no reason because you were saying bad words. Sure, you were definitely on the edge your side. You didn't censor words. You said whatever you wanted to say. But we all know the reason why you were banned. Okay, let's not pretend it was because your edginess. I think YouTube wanted to take you down a while ago, but they couldn't really because you technically weren't doing anything wrong. So they were just waiting for you to slip up and then you try to meet that minor. And that was the excuse that YouTube needed to ban you. It still doesn't make any sense to me how Minilad still has a YouTube channel. Yes, I know he hasn't uploaded in like a few months and he's still on the platform. He was able to continue uploading. If that wasn't a decoy and the people there, I'm talking about Alex, if those people were not there and that was a real 13-year-old girl, EDP would have had, with a minor, and no one would have known. And on top of that, he would have completely gone away with it. Thankfully, it was a decoy. EDP drove an hour and a half, 2 hours to hook up with a 13-year-old girl, what he thought was a 13-year-old girl.
I'm not going to fucking, start coming up with like beautiful ass fucking topics and shit to talk about, you know what I mean, just to have my shit get yanked the fuck down. So I guess you can consider this a little test fucking video to see what they'll decide to fucking do.
I mean, this is a real nasty dude. And you just have to admit, this guy has some tenacity to just keep on coming back, despite the fact that he's been put out a multitude of times. Shout out to Black Pill. He says, I'm in my soft guy era right now. So many guys are done with this BS. They're just watching everything collapse around them. The markets are collapsing. Everything's going to hell. Shout out to Vault Keeper, says, dude, I love your channel. Shout out to MK Fitness. Shout out to Bayubi. Let's see here. Let me see here. Yeah, shout out to you guys. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to David. Says, what's up, everyone? What's up, David? Guys, I'm telling you, what Western society is beginning to collapse around us, and men don't care. Men are walking away from this dumpster fire and just looking on and saying, hey, you know what? We don't want to have anything to do with this. And it's amazing because even as things are going downhill, women are still going after guys. Women are still attacking men. On one hand, they're like, why is it that men don't approach us anymore? And then on the other hand, they're like, don't approach us ever again. It's kind of crazy. It's like, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, that women think that they have all the power in society. They don't understand that they have special privileges. They don't have power. They have privileges, and privileges can be taken away at any time. Women are at the mercy without men, women are at the mercy of the world and at the mercy of the state. They don't comprehend these things. And now men are in their era and men are not playing around anymore. What men have done, what has happened now is men have realized their own self-worth and their own value. And if a woman wants a man, she's going to have to bring value into his life. It's not a game. Men are not playing around.
Soft guy era ladies, so you better be ready to step it up. He needs a haircut, you better offer to pay, send him a Venmo so he can get a fresh cut. He's at the golf course, well, buy him and his boys a round of drinks, send him that Venmo. He needs a car wash, well, offer to detail his car or take his car through the car wash. He's hungry, make him or buy him food. Make sure you prepare him food that has extra protein. Guys love protein. Men love to be surprised with gifts just like women do. So does he want a new car part? Buy him a new car part. Pretty much just gift wrap him a gift that you think he will like. He's tired, let him take a nap on the couch. He doesn't want to do yard work or mow the lawn, offer to pay for a gardener. These are easy things that you could do to help your man be in his soft guy era. Men are now understanding their worth. It's time to step it up if you want your man to stay.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. A lot of women now have to wake up to the realization that they're going to have to step it up, not just to get a man, but to keep a man. All right? Because a lot of these dudes are looking around and they're realizing, hey man, if I do the math, and this, you have to be very careful about the manosphere. Because if he doesn't do the math, another man will do the math for him. And some dude pops up in the comments and starts saying, I make $200,000 a year and I can't afford anything and I'm miserable. There's some terrible dudes in the manosphere. And if there's one thing that men are, it's logical. One of these horrible men in the manosphere will just pop up in the comments under him and start crunching the numbers. Like, listen, bro, if you get a divorce right now, and you said you live in what state? You live in this state. All right, so I understand the laws in that state. Based on this, the worst that you could actually get based on the period, no matter how long you've been married, is about 3 years of alimony. All right, and then after that, you'd be home free. And also, you said your kid's 15. By the time you're 3 years from now, by the time you'd have paid that alimony, and your kid paid off all that alimony, and your kid's 15 and your kid's 18, you'd be home free, bro, in 3 years, and all of that money would be yours. And if you're worried too, you could actually turn around, and there are ways that you can minimize. There are ways that you can reduce your income and minimize your alimony payments for that period of time. All right, like, do you have back issues, man? Like, are you in pain? Like, listen to me. Go to the doctor. Have him check you out, because you may qualify for disability. You may qualify for disability or reduced work, and if you could use that as a reason to quit your job and go and find something more manageable while you're waiting on that alimony and child support period. All right, so you can minimize your child support, you can minimize your disability, take what assets you have and just relax, stay home, play video games, live a comfortable life, and then rebuild. All right, there's a lot of men that will do the math. They will do the math and pass it on to another man, and that's the most dangerous thing. That's one of the most dangerous things right there, because there's always some man checking the math. There's always some man checking the math, and women have to be very, very well aware of that. And this whole bachelor's tax thing, guys, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Year 1900. The problem? Argentinian bachelors sucking up valuable resources without producing more citizens. The solution? A bachelor tax, a strangely popular feature of the time, but with a special waiver for those gentlemen whose proposals were turned down. No need to pour salt in that wound come tax day. Sounds like a bizarrely antiquated idea. With the best of intentions, what could possibly go wrong? The tax exemption gave rise to an entirely new vocation, professional rejectors. These entrepreneurial ladies would swear to authorities that a gentleman tried and failed to win their hand, all for a fraction of the cost of the tax itself. Proving the old adage, you can't buy love, but rejection is on sale.
Can you imagine that? So they actually began finding men if they weren't in a relationship or they were not actively looking for a relationship. So they basically found women who they began paying to reject them. And then these women would swear to the courts that they were actively rejecting these men, which they were, and then they would get they would get paid for it. And it was cheaper to just pay a woman to reject you than it was to pay the taxes. There's a long history of bachelor taxes. Guys, men are prepared for this. After all the pain and suffering that men have gone through for decades now, men are prepared for this BS. All right. The more they come after us, the more we will minimize our tax liability. Okay. Men can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road. And there's this notion among women that, like, oh my gosh, things are gonna collapse. Men are gonna have to step up and save society. What they don't comprehend is men don't care. Men are just gonna sit back and watch it all burn. And they think that simps are gonna step up. Simps are cowards and lazy. Simps aren't gonna do anything. The simps are the first ones to flee. The simps are the first ones to absolutely flee. They're a bunch of jokers. Yeah, MK says, yep, quit your job before the divorce. Set yourself up. Set yourself up. Endless says, remember, gentlemen, Pancho is king. Oh, God. Jesus is king. Jesus is king. But unfortunately, modern women, they don't comprehend that. So they have Pancho in your house, walking around, laying in your bed, farting in your bed, dripping taco sauce all over your bed, all right, eating his burritos in your bed, spilling his tequila in your bed, all right, putting your pillow between his legs, all right, and sometimes a little pee-pee slips out on that pillow, and it's okay because, your family, and this is the reality. And then you wonder why men are done with this nonsense. They're done with the games, they're done with relationships, and they're saying that we don't want to have anything to do with this anymore. Let me see here. This comment. Karayami Ryu says, Sims are losers. They absolutely are. They really are. And you know what's interesting, guys? I'll tell you something that's interesting. A lot of men are looking at it like when you go to a lady of the night, she actually values your money more than the typical woman does. The typical woman, you go to the typical woman, right? Take her out on an expensive date, spend hundreds of dollars. You get literally nothing, and she expects the world from you. Now she even expects you to cash app her. So basically, dating women in Western society today is a form of worshiping them. That's it. Think about it. You have to give them offerings. You have to do all of these things just for their so-called presence. Oh, you need to pay for my makeup. The reason why you have to spend hundreds of dollars on a date is because I have to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars to get ready. They are so full of it. They're so full of it. And men are doing like the cost, and they're basically like, bro, when we do the math, if you want to say that your stuff costs this amount of money, then guess what? When we average it out for like every guy that you would go, like, every time that you use this stuff, it works out to like less than a large Big Mac meal. All right. They're out here ripping off men. They're out here taking advantage of men. When men are waking up to the game, men are saying no more. When guys go to a lady of the night, what do they get from her? All right. Some guys will say, well, it's more riskier because, you could get an STD. First off, a lot of these girls get checked. They're more likely to get checked than the average woman in Western society today. And the average woman, she's just going to take your money, take your value, and leave you with nothing while expecting the world from you. At least with a lady of the night, when you give her that money, she's going to take that money and go and use it to buy her kids some new sneakers or, pay her bills. Like, you're actually making a difference in her life, and it's a transactional thing. You're getting what you want. She's getting what she wants, and she's going to have to value that money because she had to work for that money. It's a win-win situation. In some ways, you're teaching them responsibility. Let me check out my Yumi. She says, those Tyrones, Chads, Little Ponchos, and Ray Rays are a disease, and my sisters of the same background as me don't like those smooth talking Gigolos. Oh gosh. Let's see here. Many of my sisters build with you. I grew up with my husband. We lived through struggles, made us stronger. Most women, guys, you have to remember the biggest problem that men have when it comes to dating and relations today is that women, modern women, all right, most women today, they meet you at the finish line. After you've developed yourself, after you've built yourself into something, they don't want to be with you during those hard days where you're grinding and creating together. You know what's funny though? What's funny is that those hard times are some of the best times. And it sounds crazy to a lot of people, but it's true. Those hard times are some of the best times because those are the times when you're the closest with someone else, when things are not certain, but you're creating a future together. You're writing your story together. All right, those are some of the greatest times, even though they're hard. Modern women don't experience that. They can never experience that because they want everything handed up front to them. All right. And the crazy thing is that now they've priced themselves out, they're aging out of the dating market, and they're gonna find themselves in a very, very harsh situation. They say that women are born rich and leave the world poor, and men are born poor and leave the world rich because men have to create their value, while women are born with the perception of value. Not with value, but with the perception of value because of their ability to reproduce. But as they get older, that ability diminishes. While as a man gets older, his value grows as his wealth grows, as he develops himself as a man. Notice as a man gets older, he looks more masculine. As a woman gets older, she looks less feminine. So as a man gets older, his value, his physical value, his economic value, his maturity, all of these things increase. His masculinity, these things all increase as he gets older. Women, on the other hand, their femininity decreases. Why do I say their femininity decreases? Well, you have to think about this, and it's not for all women, but very often femininity and vitality are linked to youthfulness, and a woman's youthfulness often decreases as she gets older. Her youthfulness decreases, so her appearance begins to change significantly. So that youthful appearance begins to decline, and that's something that attracts men to women. Now, when a woman finds a man when she's younger and she builds a relationship with him, he's more likely to stay with her over the course of her life. But when she gets older, if she's like 40 years old now and she thinks she's going to have the same advantage as a 20-year-old, it's wishful thinking. Okay? It's fantastical thinking. If you want something, you have to work hard for it. Women are not dating potential anymore. They want the millionaire and the billionaire. All right. These women are going around saying that $1 million is not even a lot of money anymore, and to leave civil service jobs alone now. Leave alone jobs like firefighters, police officers, and paramedics. All right. Leave these broke boy jobs alone and only focus on working on doing jobs that will turn you into millionaires so that you can get one of them. Guys, that's not love. If you need to be a millionaire to even approach her, to make her love you, that's not love. You cannot buy someone's love. You cannot buy someone's loyalty. Okay? What you're doing is you're making yourself a victim. You're making yourself a mark. You just turned yourself into a trick. So now they can use you to extract wealth and resources from you in the pretense and the hopes that you will gain physical intimacy for something that Chad and Tyrone got for free over and over and over and over and over again. It's a sad reality, but it's true. Mayumi says, that's true. My husband gained prominence by working very hard and being on his knees to my father to beg for a loan to make our lives better. You know what's interesting, guys? Most modern women say that they will never kneel to a man. Okay? Some will say, well, the only man I'll kneel to is God. Yet they expect men to kneel to them. For example, a lot of women expect a man to get on his knees if he proposes to her. A lot of women have no problem watching a man, even their own man, kneel to another man if it's going to result in her well-being being improved. So women have no problem with men on their knees, but they have problems with getting on their knees for men. They will not kneel before a man, but they expect men to kneel before them. Do you see how sick society is? I've said it before that modern women believe that they are powerful victims while men are pathetic villains. All right? Women have special privileges today while men have special punishments. But guess what? All of that could be flipped on its head just like that. They think that they are the partner of the state. They are not the partner of the state, maybe an accomplice. They are simply agents of the state. They are allowed to operate as agents of the state, and they are rewarded based on their ability to reallocate wealth and resources from men to the state. And they do this through divorce court, family court, criminal court, civil court, lying on men. It doesn't matter how they do it. But the goal is to extract wealth and resources from men, and they are rewarded for doing this. When a woman gets a giant settlement, for example, she gets a huge settlement, $75 million, because she said that this guy said things to her that she didn't like. She's not collecting all of that money. The state is getting a nice big cut of that. All right? The judge is getting a cut of that. The clerks are getting a cut of that. The lawyers are all getting a cut of that. Everybody's getting paid. The state is getting a huge cut of that. The goal of the system, the goal for women in society is to have them extract wealth and resources from men. But as their ability diminishes to extract wealth and resources from men because men are opting out of society, then so does their ability to survive. Because if they're not able to do that, then the government's going to say, the state's going to say, well, the less value you're able to provide to us through reallocation of wealth and resources, then the less we're going to do for you to keep you afloat. There's going to be a lot of destitution going forward. There's going to be a lot of homeless women going forward. Women who basically treated men as nothing more than utilities, and they're saying that the job of a man is to sacrifice himself for women in society. They're going to find that this is only pushing men away further. And they think that this is going to also keep the existing men from leaving society by shaming them so that they will never go and be like the guys who've walked away. They don't understand that it's not going to work. Treating people like crap doesn't make them want to stay. Treating people like crap only results in them running away. Look at the simp economy in China right now. The simp economy is collapsing rapidly. The simps are fleeing. The simps are like, oh, nah, yeah, you know what? This is not working out. I don't have any money for this. I'm done. All right? You have all of these gold diggers over there that are crying, wishing that they could be simps. And guess what? It's not happening because these dudes don't even want to have a conversation with them. That's really how it is. That's really how it is. Black Pill says that I had a promiscuous individual I was pining for back in 2020 and makeout session. Then she wouldn't answer my calls. Then in 2022, she sees me with my friends and says, we should hang out. And I responded, why? Guys, I told y'all I was sick for years at one point. I was sick for years. For like 4 years, I was ill. And this woman who I was, this woman who constantly told me how much she loved me, when I got sick, she was gone. And then years later, she calls me up and starts telling me BS like, oh, we fell out of touch, but I love you. I love you. Bro, I haven't spoken to you in years. And you've been messaging me and I have not been responding to you. And then so you didn't get the hint. And then you're going to call me up and tell me that you love me. And it doesn't mean anything because there are dudes who've been telling me that they hear from women back from like 1998. Like they're like, it's 2024. And there are women from 1998 hitting them up. 1998? No. Like I can't. It's like when you hear these stories, like, bro, it's been listen, man, she hit me up after 10 years. I've got another one for you, bro. It's been 20 years, bro. It's been 26 years. She hit me up after 26 years. When you hear things like that, you're just like, yeah, I don't have anything on y'all. I'm here crying over 4 years. She's hitting you up after 26 years. Let me go stay in my corner. Let me go stay in my lane. Because guys, it's like it's like you can't make this stuff up. Kevin Samuels used to say, you can't make this stuff up. And he was so right. You can't make this stuff up. All right? Because the facts, the fact is stranger than the fiction. It is true. It is so true. It is so true. It's an absolute disgrace what we are witnessing today. Holy cow. Mayumi says simp is another name for slave. Holy cow. Let me keep reading here. Thomas says, dated a single mom back in the 2010s. Things only lasted a few months. As of late, I'm living well while she's got 2 baby daddies and her now growing son has a rap sheet. I dodged the bullet. Congratulations on that. Shadama says, Soy City. Let me see here. Chris says, Generation X Florida girl. We have been married 18 years. My job is to make his life easier and be good to him. We are good to each other. Listen to me. I promote MWA. I really do. Men with alternatives. And if a man finds a good woman in Western society that he wants to walk away with, 100% support that. All right? But then you have the MGTOWs, and these are the guys that women are pushing men towards MGTOW, where they want to say that they want to live, where guys want to live separate lives from relationships and society. A lot of women are pushing men in that direction. They are the biggest cheerleaders of MGTOW. They're the ones that are pushing it forward. Let's see here. Let's see what you guys are saying. Brandon says they will leave you when you are at your hardest times. Absolutely correct. And then they'll check in. They'll check in every couple of years to see if things have leveled off and if you've rebuilt. Man, I tell y'all, it's insane. Mayumi says a woman jumps from one man to another for monetary gain is a tapeworm sucking the host dry. It absolutely is. Scully says Gen X called them kitty whipped. Ban says these modern women are nothing special. Silver American says what's happening in China coming here. Tens of millions of Chinese women over age 30 that have now gone past the wall that men don't want anything to do with. It's absolutely correct. And then they're going to expect the state to take care of them. A lot of women are going to find themselves in extreme destitution and poverty. There's going to be a lot of women living in homeless shelters. There's going to be a lot of women who are going to be living on the streets in cars. It's going to be absolutely horrendous. And society is going to say, how did women end up in this horrendous state? Because 45% of women are going to be childless and single come 2030. All right? Between the ages of 25 and 44. And that's only, keep in mind, that's childless and single women. That doesn't include single moms. So guys, you're also going to have a bunch of children who are destitute. And who's going to take care of these kids? Not men. Men have gotten the message like, do not bond with kids who are not yours. All right? Because the state will make you pay for them, but you don't have any rights, or you're not entitled to them. Those are not your kids. There's so many guys who are the biological father, and the state takes away their rights and gives those kids to someone else, and they can't get those kids back. That the biological father has no rights to those kids. How the heck do you think you have any rights to those kids? You don't have any rights to those kids. What occurred here is women played stupid games, and now they're going to win stupid prizes. All right? Realistically, when you factor in Gen X women, when you factor in baby boomer women, all right, most baby boomer women are single right now. Most baby boomer women are single right now. Many of them left their husbands. All right, divorced their husbands, and they're living off the state and banking off Social Security, which is not going to be enough to survive. And you have all of these articles now where boomers are turning around and telling their kids like, hey kid, you need to help me out. I was there for you when you were growing up, so you need to show me some love. Like, they gave us, guys, I grew up during the Gen X era. They made our lives miserable. The boomers were stingy. They were mean. They were spiteful. They were cruel. They were vindictive to their kids. And these evil individuals will then turn around and start talking about God, that God compels you to forgive or you're going to hell. This is when you know that these are the same people that destroyed the relationship that a lot of young people had with God, because they turned God into a monster. They told that God was going to damn you if you didn't love everyone. God was going to send you to hell if you told lies, told lies when they were constantly lying to you. This is the reason why a lot of them are going to end up homeless. The boomers are the fastest growing generation of homeless people. They're the fastest growing demographic of homeless people right now. And you're going to have a lot of women, not Gen X, not boomers, Gen X women, millennials, Gen Z as a given, who are going to be homeless. I've already said this about Gen Z, that Gen Z is going to be out there squatting and stealing. They're going to be squatting and stealing because there is very little future for them. Very little future for them. That's the honest to goodness truth. And women created this reality for themselves. You know, I've said this so many times. If you want to destroy a country, destroy the men. If you want to destroy the men, use the women to destroy the men. That's what women have done in Western society. And now they're going to have to deal with the consequences of those decisions. Mayumi says, I remember going to medical school and my husband sticking next to me while he worked 40-hour shifts for another private security company, and he supported me and never complained. That's Gen X right there. That's why Gen X is the last functional group of adults, because Gen X lives very hard lives, but they don't sit around complaining about it. If you ask them, they'll tell you the truth and say, listen, our lives were hard and we made the best of it and we still thrived. Okay? And then they look at Gen X like, okay, well then why don't you help society more? Why are you just, why did you let the boomers do this and this and this? You see, guys, a lot of Gen Xers did everything right. They went to trade schools, they got college degrees, and many of them are still struggling. But they have a lifetime of experience, a body of knowledge that they can draw from. This is the reason why, after being ill, I was sick for many years, guys. Many years, burnt out my savings, everything. All right? And I was able to, as soon as I started to get even a little better, I was able to immediately start repairing things in my life. Immediately. That's the Gen X inside of me. All right? Because we were raised during hard times. We were raised hard. Our parents made our lives a living hell. As a result of that, we are natural born survivors, and we don't sit around complaining or blaming everyone for our problems. And somehow that creates the perception that, oh, well, then your life is really not that difficult. The simple truth is that Gen Xers have been working since the day they could use their little hands, move their little hands, taking care of themselves, then their siblings if they had any. Gen Xers had to learn how to save, had to learn how to hustle. They had to learn that no one cares about you. They were emotionally neglected. They were raised by narcissists. They are survivors of narcissistic abuse. And yet they continue to thrive because they are adults. And you know what? For a lot of them, they've just moved past it. They make it look easy because, they understand that the world is a miserable and horrible place and it's trying to destroy you. It doesn't love you. All right? The world does not love you. In fact, it wants you to go away. All right? And you have to fight for your survival. We're heading into a massive economic decline, and you have women still posting videos like this on YouTube, on TikTok, that are shaming men, attacking men, putting down men, men who are no longer marrying and dating. They're putting up videos like, how dare you? How dare you? We're going to shame you right back. You have women who are acting like they care about men or they support men, putting out videos like, oh, you're picking on women. You're acting like all women are bad, blah, 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 blah. They think that this is going to bring men back, but they know no other way of attracting a man.
Or 304s. Nope. There is no such thing as traditional women anymore. Wrong. Women simply aren't worth it. What does that even mean? I am so tired of all of this negativity. Are you going to insist that masculinity is about growth, suffering, and overcoming difficult things? And then just not date because it's hard? Are some of you really so pessimistic and self-hating that you will just resign yourself to never feeling love and affection? Are you really going to sit here and insist that you have all of the answers to dating and then just refuse to pass those answers on to a woman who is ready and willing to please you? Tell me, what battle are you even fighting?
A woman who is ready and willing to please you? These women are not ready and willing to please you. They do not listen. We're not saying that there are not good women in Western society, but for every one good woman, there are 20 good men chasing her. Okay? There's some great women in America, and there are 20 good men chasing her all at the same time. Realistically, if she's on social media and she's like, posting, about her exploits, all right, she has thousands, tens of thousands of potential suitors, sometimes millions. That's just the reality of it. So a lot of guys are like, well, if I want a good woman, I'm going to have to go overseas to find one. And there are many guys now who are like, yeah, it's not even worth it. I'm just going to I'm going to stay home and live my best life, get a remote job, or only leave the house and go out to work when I have to, make enough money to survive and thrive, and no more. And men are minimalist by nature, which means that men don't need a lot to survive. The average man does not need much to survive, and women don't comprehend this. Guys, you're going to see more millionaires than ever created during the Depression, because men are not going to be marrying or dating. So all of the money that they're pulling in, that's going to go into the bank, that's going to go into crypto. Men are going to just be hoarding tons of money during this Depression. You're going to be hoarding away money for the next decade or more. So you're going to end up with guys over the next 5 to 10 years that have $500,000 in the bank, millions of dollars in the bank, or even $100,000 in the bank. You're going to have guys with tons and tons of money just piling up and stacking up. And they're going to say, how is it that these men have all of this money? Because men are minimalist by nature. And after the way men have been treated, men are going to say, we're going to give nothing to the economy. We're going to give nothing to society. So men are going to cut back in ways that society does not even understand. Men are going to find new ways to avoid buying food. They're going to buy food from butchers in the country, ship it to other states. You're going to see men cutting back on food, cutting back on every expense that you can think of. Some guys going solar. Guys are going to drain everything from the economy, and men are going to be working less and relaxing more. And they're going to say, how are these men not working? You're going to have a lot of guys who should be on disability that are going to take disability and just completely drop out of the economy. And they're going to have everything that they need. They have a roof over their heads. Their utility bills are paid. They have food. Guess what? They have everything that they need. All right? A 65-inch television. What, you can get that for $400? PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. A lot of guys are happy with PlayStation 4. A PlayStation 5 is a one-time purchase. Okay? And then guys are picking up their video games, when sales pop up, $20, $30 here and there. These are one-time purchases for these men. And a lot of guys are more than happy to go back to Super NES. I've been looking at going back to PS2 for quite a while right now. I've been looking at the emulation scene. A lot of guys will go back to the emulation scene as well. And don't pay for anything. And that's the reality of it. Men pay 80% of all taxes in Western society, while women make 80% of all consumer purchases. But as men are dropping out of society, and women are like, yeah, well, we're going to take all of those jobs. Guess what? All the tax liability is going to fall on them right now. And women don't comprehend that as they make more money, they end up with a greater tax liability. And women struggle with financial literacy. So while men will live below their means, I have medical doctors who are living below their means right now. I've got guys who are medical doctors. They're living below their means. But you have a lot of women, they go and get a medical degree. They think they're a boss babe, while they have a ton of student loan debt on top of it. So they're not even properly addressing their student loan debt. And they're out here buying houses and purses and cars and trying to live expensive lives. and they don't even want to put in the number of hours necessary to grind and build so they can actually make a dent in their debt. So what's going to end up happening? They're going to be stuck in debt for the rest of their lives. Because a lot of these young women that are coming up right now, working in medicine, working in law, they can't put in. They are not built like women of the past. They're not built like older millennial women. They're not built like Gen X women. They're not built like boomers. I'm just being honest. They're not built like women of the past. These Gen Z women, they will not make it in medicine. They will not make it in medicine. A lot of them will be kicked out very quickly too for inappropriate images online and doing things and all kinds of garbage and not showing up for work, disappearing. And men are dropping out. Men are leaving these fields. Men are saying we've had enough because men are just chilling. A man that's not chasing a man that has no love for country or family will fight for neither. So if he's not looking for a wife and kids, and he does not love his country, he feels in fact that his country has hurt him and has demoralized him and has continued to gaslight him, he will fight for neither. 77% of Gen Zers back in 2020 Gen Z guys were found to be unfit to serve in the military because of mental incompetence, mental health issues, obesity, or substance abuse. 77%, and that was back in 2020. All right, what do you think that number is right now? That was men between the ages of 17 and 24. Fast forward 4 years later, and I'm telling you, we all know that it's higher. It's more like it has to be at least 80%, between 80 and 90% now of all men. Gen Z men are not capable of serving in the military. That's the reason why they're now set to vote on a bill that will automatically register both Gen Z men and Gen Z women for the draft. And keep in mind, Gen Z women, they hold the majority of all college degrees right now. They are way more educated than Gen Z guys. So when the draft hits, they're going to start pulling up the Gen Z women because Gen Z dudes are busy twerking on TikTok. Like these kids, y'all really think that these kids are going to go fight? You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me.
I just read an article saying that the House just passed a bill that they're going to automatically register men from 18 to 26 for war. Okay? And all I want to say is to America, good luck with that. These new little niggas are TikTokers, baby. These motherfuckers ain't gonna fight no war. We gonna die. You gonna die. You might as well just keep motherfucking investing money in your guns, because these new kids, you want to send these new kids to fight these wars? The TikTok fucking hip shakers, out of your mind. This is a new America, baby. This ain't the 19 motherfucker. Nah, like seriously, you gonna draft these kids that be TikToking all day to fight them? What? Most likely what? Them Russians? Them motherfuckers that be fighting bears and shit? And motherfucking climbing mountains to go to school and whatever? I got some news for you, motherfuckers.
Guys, I'm telling y'all, right now they're talking about mandatory military service. A lot of women are gonna end up, guys. The Gen Z women are actually a lot. The Gen Z women, technically speaking, are actually a bit more capable than the Gen Z men. The Gen Z men are just gone. They're absolutely gone. All right. Gen Z women hold the vast majority of college degrees among Gen Z men. And at this point, it seems like the labor force participation rates of Gen Z women are higher than Gen Z men. Okay? Like a lot of the men who are not working right now are Gen Z men. They've just dropped out of, they've stopped looking for work. They're becoming NEETs, not in education, employment, or training. That's something that was big in Japan, and now it's come across the pond. All right, these dudes are incompetent. I told you, this is the sleeping and farting generation. They're not going to do anything. All they will do is sleep, eat, drink, get drunk, smoke weed, use other drugs, play video games, play with themselves, fart, and then do it all again the next day. That's who they are. That's who these people are. They're not competent enough to serve in the military. So they're going to start automatically drafting a lot of women. Because, guys, think about this. 50 years ago, we had almost 2 million people serving in the serving in the that were in the military draft. So our reserves. 50 years ago, our military reserves had almost 2 million people. 50 years later, it has less than 200,000. And there are crazy people saying that there's no chance of war. War is never going to happen. We have drones and artificial intelligence that's going to handle that stuff. These people are taking so much copium. The lesson here is that we do not need boots on the ground. I repeat, we do not need boots on the ground. These people are out of their damn minds saying that we do not need a military to protect ourselves because we have machines and all of these other countries, they don't have money. They have their own problems. They don't have the ability to go to war with us. I'm telling y'all, this is, guys, how does the saying go? Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. And weak men create hard times. And these weak guys, these are the weak guys that are now saying that we'll never go to war. These are the guys that just kept on simping until we ended up in this situation. And they're never can't stop, won't stop. They're gonna keep on pushing that same BS until everything collapses. And they're gonna watch. Everyone's gonna watch as society collapses around us, and men do not come to the rescue. Chris says we really enjoy your channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's continue on. Mayumi says modern women in the West are not worth the stress and high blood pressure. Truth. Absolutely truth. Second says Mayumi, yes, they are trying to trick us into working for their bills. Let me check this out. Old says, I'm a 1977 Gen Xer. Our life was a triple serving of belting on our bums every day of the week. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Let me see here. Mr. says, my father was the worst. When I was 3, my father threw me into the ocean and said, swim. He passed away earlier than... he passed away earlier than most and miserable. Oh, man. You can just tell, like, when it comes to the boomers, you can tell to the boomers, when it comes to the boomers, you can tell just how I feel about them. Just like how I feel about Gen Z. Some Gen Zer left a comment on one of my videos, and he said, I'm Gen Z. Do you hate me? And I responded to him, and I said, does 2 + 2 = 4? Let's continue reading. Let's see here. Okay, Shad says, if women were like my mom, society would be much better. Even though she has terminal brain cancer, she still didn't get rid of my. Okay, so even though my father has terminal brain cancer, she still didn't get rid of him. She's ride or die for him. That's good. That's really, really good. J-Lock says Gen X is doing the same to their children. Gen X gave their children easy lives. J-Lock, what are you talking about? Let me see here. Scully says, I'm Gen X and I went in monk mode 20 years ago. Second class says, I worked 20 years for a lie and I'm not doing that twice. You see, they think that men are stupid or dumb. They think that men are less intelligent than monkeys. And I'll tell you why I say this. They've done tests where they've taken monkeys, put them in cages, and they've given one more privileges than the other, despite the fact that they had to contribute the same amount of effort for those privileges. And when one monkey realizes that it's being treated unfairly, it goes absolutely nuts. And they think that we're dumber than animals. They think that we are dumber than animals. They treat us worse than animals. Think about this. In the United States, less money is spent every year on reproductive health for men than for dogs. The United States spends less money on our reproductive health than for dogs. It's crazy. We pay 80% of all taxes, but none of that money goes towards our health care. Pure says, I'm Gen X and I raise my children as close to that as possible. Silver says, Gen X was before participation trophies. Nate says, technology has ruined us. Hordick says, millennials receive narcissistic upbringing too. Yeah, I mean, yes, a lot of, millennials, a lot of millennials and Gen Xers were the children of boomers. So a lot of millennials did receive a lot of narcissism as well. The thing is that younger millennials, by the time they came around, there was CPS, and the legal system had changed by the 90s. So some of the ill-gotten things that the boomers were doing back in the 80s, they could not do, or the early 90s, they could no longer do that in the late 90s or the 2020s. I mean, by 1988, I was already full-blown Gen X rage. I was in full-blown Gen X rage by 1988. All right. Mayumi says, I admit to one thing, and I'm proud of what I grew. I admit to one thing, and I'm proud of what I became. I grew up as the little rich girl. Oh. J-Lock says, yep, I'm going through the same situation back in 2019. I finally moved and they got mad. Pure says, Gen X are the hardest of people. Absolutely. Let me put this here. Let's just keep on reading. Abel says, is it just me, or does it seem like every woman who's at like grandma age is 2 or 3 times more bitter about life than 10 years ago? I keep running into them and they are insufferable. I can 100% understand that. I can 100% understand and relate to that. Mayumi says, and when I married, perspective came, and now I understand what it means to set a goal and earn. That is absolutely. Most modern women don't have that. Most modern women don't have the tenacity, the drive to actually struggle through life and work towards something anymore, because they want everything given to them. And that's extremely prominent, especially with Gen Z women, which is funny because they're passing away faster than any other group of women over the last 100 years. Let's see here. Mayumi says, I remember the teachings of my mother and grandmother. Good men don't want spoiled, lazy, arrogant partners in relationships. And it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Women don't understand, their replacements are overseas. And a lot of men are not even going to be bothered anymore. A lot of men are done. A lot of men are just more than happy to stay home, and just basically say we're done. We're not going to participate anymore. We're just going to get a piece of land and stay there and live our best lives at home. It's not even a matter of writing it out. It's a matter of walking away. And then you have the MGTOWs who are like, we just want to live separate lives and not get involved at all. And a lot of women, they put their entire future into Sims, where they thought they were going to be able to live off the Simp economy forever. And they don't get that. They don't understand that these Sims are not loyal. You cannot trust these Sims. All right. And soft guy era is no joke. Men are in their era right now, and they are making the absolute best of it. Let's see here. Second class says that these ladies can no longer hurt us. Absolutely. As long as you walk away. Walk away. Walk away. Walk away. Walk away. Just walk away, pay your taxes, and that's it. That's it. Keiko says, angry, I'm playing PSP right now. That's what's up. Mayumi says, my husband hunts and loves to turn 60% of the meat from deer and elk into jerky, and even the bones are used. That's really where men are headed. That's really where men are headed. As times get worse, they're going to start looking into things like hunting. That's like going to be a big focus in the manosphere. Getting back to nature, hunting again, collaborating with men who do hunting, buying deer meat, elk, these types of things from these men, minimizing your expenses. This is how men are going to live. get a freezer, learning how to be self-sufficient. Scully says 10 gigabyte hard drive, PlayStation 3 loaded. Guys, that's what's up. That's what's up. Let's see here. Old says zero tax liability for an LLC, incorporated company. Yep. Men are not going to play around anymore. Men are not going to play these games anymore. Women thought that they could keep doing this forever, and they don't realize that the men are gone. The men have left society. That train has sailed, and they're going to have to figure it out for themselves. And there's not going to be any, where have all the good men gone? It's literally, where have all the men gone now? Because men are sick and tired of it. They're sick and tired of the narcissism. They're sick and tired. Guys, the economy is crashing right now.
Dean, I saw that the stock market crashed in Japan. Why is that affecting us so badly?
It's because of this thing called the carry trade. The Fed started increasing rates over a year ago. Japan had negative rates. So you look at starting from a year ago, you look at how weak the yen was. Japan had negative interest rates. You have to pay a bank money to hold your money, for example, right? Negative. And our rates were going up on yen, and using the money here had to cover their trades. So, and that coupled with the concerns about earnings, about growth over here, everything just hit at one time. Everyone had to dump their equities here, dump the tech stocks here out, and all that, and cover their positions in Japan, because the yen the US dollar was tanking against the yen, right? So of the world in Asia.
Wow.
In a big way. Everyone is tanking right now. Wow. Yeah, so that's what's happening. And that coupled with the fact that we're concerned about rates being overcooked, being held too high, about GDP concerns, unemployment concerns, that and this all happens at one time. You got this kaboom.
Guys, and women are out here, telling men, saying they don't need no man, but then at the same time saying that men need to be held accountable and men don't want to take responsibility, and that it's okay for women to act entitled, but it's not okay for men to act entitled. Like it's absolutely insane. All right, different standards for different genders. Guys, it's such a level of entitlement and hypocrisy, and they think that they can treat men like this. They think that men have no choice but to obey. And then when everything goes to hell, they're going to turn around and say that they're victims of men. I mean, my gosh, it is such a disgrace right now what's happening.
Lacking. We truly need men content. All the men want to do is get on TikTok or Instagram and lick their lips. We don't need that. Teach us how to change a tire. Teach me how to change my oil. How do I check my tire pressure? How do I build a home? How do I prepare to go to war? Because all this extra content y'all are making is not it.
Guys, so these are the same women that push men away, that call blue collar men broke boys, and now they're saying that, they want real men, they want masculine men. And what's funny? Because when all of these women end up getting drafted, they're going to many of them are going to rush to get pregnant. All right? Many of them are going to rush to get pregnant so they can try to dodge the draft. It's an absolute disgrace.
Since I have some awesome guys on TikTok right now listening, I'm thinking, may I have your opinion, please? What is it with men these days and not wanting to date? Do you guys have a fear of commitment? Is it the woman these days? Does it have anything to do with spending money on women? Does it have anything to do with trust issues? Maybe dating apps? Maybe you feel like there are endless options?
Guys, look at all of the gaslighting. They know exactly why men are walking away. They know exactly why men are not dating. They see the same videos that we see. They know exactly what's happening, and they're acting like, I don't know what's going on. Guys, why don't you want to date anymore? What's going on, guys? I have no idea. I'm telling you guys, the internet lives forever, and Hydrox says Gen Alpha is coming. Yeah, those are a group of little bastards, little jerks. I call Gen Z bad muffins. I don't even know what to call Gen Alpha. They're basically Gen Z on steroids. They're fighting hard for that title of degenerate. They're fighting hard for that title. Let me see here. Let's see. Gully says Gen Alpha can't read. You're absolutely right. They can't read and they can't math. Yeah. Abel says 77%. Oh my gosh. Yeah. 77% of Gen Zers were found between the ages of 17 and 24. Gen Z men were found not capable, not qualified to serve in the U.S. military back in 2020 because they're either too overweight, too mentally incompetent, mentally ill, or because of substance abuse. By 17, these people already have substance abuse issues that eliminate them from serving in the military. Like Gen Z is guys, in 10 years, the Gen Zers that are still around, they're going to be destroying society. They're going to be sleeping, they're going to be squatting and stealing everywhere. They're going to be full blown. They're the hippies. They are modern day hippies, and they're going to be full blown hippies. Like right now is the golden age of Gen Z. All right, they're never going to recover because, guys, think about this. Many of us, in the Gen X generation, we've spent 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, learning stuff, 50 years, developing a lifetime body of knowledge, and that we pull from. And life isn't perfect for us. Hell, many of us are still struggling to survive and to build our lives, right? But we have our experiences to pull from. We have our knowledge to pull from, constantly learning new things. Gen Z is not gaining this. They're lazy people. They're not learning. They're not going to have a lifetime body of knowledge to pull from. And the saying is also, if you use it or lose it. So many of these jokers, the few skill sets that they do have, they're going to start struggling. Like many of them can barely read. So I mean, fast forward 10 years, many of them can't even read at all. All right, forget about sounding it out. All right, so they're illiterate, they're broke, they can't math, and they don't have the ability to really learn anymore because they're so far removed from the process of learning. All right, they're going to be desperate adults pushing 40. They're going to be tearing down society. It's a total disgrace. Mayumi says, my husband saw the problem with the U.S. military back in the 2000s. He chose the SANDF instead of the U.S. military. Let's see here. Mouse Destruction says, you fight with a drone and an Xbox controller these days? Right. Oh. Eternal says, men shouldn't even fight for this gynocentric society. 100% agreed. Paul says that Gen Z will fight or go to prison. They can't be drafted. The military legally cannot draft these people. Think about it. 77% of them back in 2020, it has to be 80 to 90% right now, cannot legally be drafted. The U.S. military has a checklist. Okay? If you are a substance abuser, they cannot draft you. If you are mentally incompetent, they cannot draft you. If you are mentally ill, they cannot draft you. All right? If you are obese, they cannot draft you. All right? It will only create more of a liability and reduce available resources to train personnel that are capable. And once they have these people there, they have to pay for them. They have to provide them with food, healthcare, and a variety of other things. So if you have a bunch of incompetent people who are not even legally capable of serving, there's no point. Saying that you're going to use them as fodder is absolute nonsense. All right? You'd be much better off using bean bags or something else. Let me see here. Alone Capone says, Gen X here. These kids can't fight, lol, and women better get ready. Absolutely. There's no way. There's no way that you're going to send Gen Z over there. Okay? Many of them will choose prison. And if you send them over there, a lot of them will fight for the enemy. If they fight, they will fight for the enemy. But the truth is, the Gen Zers that you're going to send, that you would end up sending over there, you can just look at Vietnam to see what's going to happen. What did the boomers do that got forced to go? Because most boomers dodged the draft. So the boomers that did get forced to go to Vietnam, what did they do over there? They went over there. They were using drugs. They were using drugs. They were getting drunk. All right. They were getting laid. Yes, they committed a lot of crimes over there. And there are movies about it. Okay? There are some horrible, despicable people. That's what Gen Z will be doing over there. Okay? And they have video games over there as well. They're like, oh, we donate old, consoles to the people, to the troops over there. They're just gonna be over there playing games, getting laid, eating, sleeping, and farting. None of them's gonna do anything. The only time that it's pointless, guys. You can't. It's a bad idea sending people like this. And I've already said this. Even with modern men don't have a dog in the fight. If a man is not fighting for family or for country, he will fight for nothing. So there's no reason. If you're telling a man that, well, if you don't go over there and fight, we're going to put you in prison, it basically looks like there's an enemy behind me and an enemy in front of me. He's not going to... Guys, that's a prisoner. They actually tried this back in the 90s as well. They had a thing called Desert Storm. And, this is basically was like something with Iraq, and they sent a bunch of soldiers over to the Middle East. Now, what many of you don't know about this is that back then they had a program, and they took a bunch of men who were in prison or who were headed to prison, and they said, listen, you have a choice. You can go to prison or you can join the military and go fight overseas. So a bunch of guys ended up going into the military, and they sent them overseas to go fight for their country. It was a terrible failure, and a lot of instances of friendly fire occurred. Okay? Because these men were technically prisoners who were being held hostage. You're going to go, well, they had a choice. They could either go to prison or go overseas and fight. They're basically damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. That's not a choice. That's an ultimatum. They were still prisoners, just prisoners wearing military fatigue and carrying firearms now. And you think that sending Gen Z over there or any other generation of man under the premise that if you don't go, we're going to arrest you? Also consider this. Every year, 100,000 Gen Zers that turn 18 are not registering for the draft. This is one of the reasons why they're going to now start automatically registering these people for the draft. It's crazy. And yeah, J-Lock is right. He says they're going to find a way to get pregnant. Get ready, fella. They are. They absolutely are. They absolutely are. So they can try to get out of it. Let's see here. Second says it's the boomers' problem. I 100% agree with you on that. 100% agree with you on that. Okay, Thomas Weiser dropped some cash. He says, only thing I'll fight for are my rights to party. That's Beastie Boys. Fight for your right to party. I actually had a teacher back when I was in school. I had a teacher in school who actually went to school with I don't know if it was one member of the Beastie Boys or all of the members of the Beastie Boys, but he went to school with at least one of them, and that was pretty cool. The pimped out platypus dropped 5. He said, society turned its back on men first. We are just returning the favor. Men don't have a dog in this fight. Men do not have a dog in this fight. Let's see here. Mayumi says it's going to be like Battle Royale 2. Paul says Israeli women have to serve 2 years in the military. Yep. So we know it works. I don't know if Israel is the only country that does that also. Second says I'm 10 years Hmong. Mouse says that Gen Z grew up with modern Disney movies. They absolutely did. And they ended up getting the wrong idea on life, thinking that life owed them something because their parents were gifted them comfortable lives. And then social media, the education system, all combined, indoctrinated into believing that they deserved more than they really do, and that people actually care about their feelings, and they're going to get a really harsh wake-up call very soon. They need a really, really harsh wake-up call. Okay?
Much rather dusty men know their place and own the fact that they don't have the masculine characteristics to actually provide for a woman and be the leader of a family. It's gonna make dating for women a lot easier. I've had so many girls that stay in relationships for years because the guy convinces them that they're a provider even when they're not providing. And they future project to these women and they're like, yes, when we're married and when we have kids, I'm gonna like buy you everything and you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom, just for that to never happen.
Drizzle drizzle means you and your friends got finessed, baby girl. All fair in love and war. You know it happens all the time. Drizzle drizzle means you have to have better fashion than the king, baby girl. Cat's out of the bag, literally. This is a limited edition Louis Vuitton pocket square that they only made 30 of. And this shoebox here might be equal to your net worth because not only is there Louis Vuitton, there's Brioni, there's Hugo Boss, there's Etro, and there's so much more, baby girl. Drizzle drizzle means I'm keeping my wealth out of your reach like those Birkin bags. We're putting a burqa on the Bentley. You can't see it until you put a ring on that finger, baby girl. And it better be carats. If I broke those geodes up into carats, this would be $20 million of amethyst.
Guys, these dudes are not playing around. These dudes are sassy as hell today. Sassy as hell, and they are not messing around. Okay? Let's see here. Chris says, I'm retired from the funeral industry, and he is a truck driver. Those professions are conductive to parenthood. I'm not maternal at all. Okay. Let's keep on. Is there another comment? Another super. The pimped out platypus says, if Uncle Sam wants my time and energy, he needs to hit up my Cash App first. Drizzle, drizzle. Guys, 2024 is wild. Slayer says, I miss my PSP. I really do too, but thank God for the Nintendo Switch. I'm so grateful for my Nintendo Switch and my Steam Deck. Like, oh my gosh, Steam Deck is such a joy. There are little things that I don't like I wish it but overall it's incredible. It's for big boys. It's a console for big boys. I love it. Absolutely love Steam Deck. I still love my OLED. I have a Switch OLED, I have a Nintendo, and I have a Steam Deck. And it's so funny. I have tons of. I spent like $1,000 on games in the last Steam sale, somewhere around there. But I have all of these games, but I don't have time to play them. Talk about life. Talk about life. Life is so funny. Let's see here. Yeah, Scully says we're currently on a prison planet. Don't disagree with you there. That's what they want from us. Second says, forget MGTOW. Go full Aztec. Capsule says, I hate when he says little poncho. I don't know what he's talking about. Let's see here. Brandon says the gaslighting is real. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Women have been gaslighting men for ages. And they continue to put out videos like this and then act like men don't see them, or this is the reason why men are avoiding relationships and walking away rapidly.
I don't care what anybody says, but a guy should always be paying for dates. I already know the men are going to come in my comments crying and screaming. I don't care. If you're okay with splitting the bill, if you're okay with taking turns paying, if you're okay with being the one that's paying for most of the things, fine. That's on you, girl. But me, There are men out there who are literally paying for full-blown vacations for women, flying them out, paying for every single thing they could ever want.
Y'all, do you hear this? Do you hear the level of entitlement? There are men who are paying for all of this stuff, and then you have these brokies who don't want to give us anything. Guys, I'm telling y'all, it's going to be wild when crap hits the fan, and these women are basically brought back down to earth. And the saying is, the higher you are up, the harder it's going to really kick in once you hit the ground. And these women are so far up in the clouds that when their feet touch reality again, gravity is going to play a large role in that. And a lot of women are not going to be able to handle the implications of their actions and what they've done. They're not going to be able to handle it. Platypus The pimped out platypus says that girl was giving broke. If she's broke, just say that. Fellow kings, you don't need to entertain these court jesters. Drizzle, drizzle. Yeah, it's a joke. It's a say Satan. I'm just gonna say Satan Don. No, that's Satan. That's an image of Satan. It says, gotta go to Salvador, Costa Rica. Bro, stay away from the demonic stuff. Are you a Gen Zer? Oh God. Diesel says, lucky me. I was born with VSD and the army wouldn't take me at 18 because the scar tissue from the repair might rip. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I'm seeing some comments from you guys that are wild. Seeing some comments that are wild. You guys are wild. Capsule says, my ex lied just to get a baby. A lot of guys are going to be in trouble, guys. This is the reason why you need to wrap it up or just don't get involved. But I mean, guys, we're gonna have AI replacing a lot of relationships and physical intimacy. All right, men are definitely going to start dating robots. All right. Black Pill says, soft guy era using these scout talents to scout out a village to occupy and live a better life. All right. Let's see here. Low blood pressure says, I thought masculinity was toxic. Yeah. There you go, guys. They're just basically setting out like different messages. All right, shooting out different messages right now. It's like, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you. The pimped out platypus says, YouTube will let you super chat drizzle drizzle unless you misspell it. For your information, hashtag war on men. Let's keep going. Guys, the future for women is looking like one of destitution and poverty, and women have chosen that for themselves. By the way, guys, if you enjoyed the content, subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. What do you guys think regarding all of this? This is how society collapses. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA. Men walking away. And cheers.